Mr. and Mrs. Smith, as I told you the night I took the listing, we're going to be talking about reducing the price if we don't have any showings and offers in the first 2 weeks. So far, we don't have any offers in the first 2 weeks. I'm going to suggest a price reduction of $50,000, to which they're going to go, what? $50,000? That would bring us all the way down to what our neighbors sold for. Yes, the real home sold at fair market value. Well, we'll only give you $25,000, which is a whole lot better than asking for $25,000 and getting $10,000. The bigger the price reduction you ask for, the bigger the price reduction they suggest. So be stronger in your approach on your price reduction. But let's look at the next thing we have to make sure is taking place to get the property sold, that the condition of the property is the best they can make it be. That the condition of the property. Now, I think we all understand that they can't change the location of the property. That's a given. However, they can dramatically affect the condition. And the hardest part of this whole process, John, is the leg falling off?
I'm just worried.
Catch me.
I'm his beneficiary, yeah.
He's in the trust. So the advantage we have in pressing for including the condition as part of the process is it is something that is changeable. Now, are they normally going to go, whatever you say we'll do?
No.
But it is changeable, what you're suggesting. Now, does every seller think their home is the best home on the market?
Yes.
And some of them, you walk outside, you burn your clothes. I mean, they're that bad. So understand condition is a factor. But the next point I want you to write down on how to get your listing sold is having a strong price reduction plan. Having a strong price reduction plan. So we have a great broker down in Tampa that I work with. The guy's got 800 agents. He's got 4 locations. They do 6,000 to 7,000 transactions a year. It's one of the best per person productivity offices that I know of. Chris McLaughlin is the fellow's name. I've been coaching him for probably about 9 years now, personally, just every Monday morning I call him at the same time. And we discuss how to keep this thing going forward. So he said to me about a month ago, Mike, our market in Florida, even though people are not talking about it, has taken a big dip down. And if you read in the news about national news on real estate, Florida and Texas are 2 of the most active states that are taking the biggest dips down right now. So be happy that you're in Nevada. So I said, okay, Chris, what does that mean to you? He said, we need a lot of price reductions fast because our showings have almost come to a halt. Tampa, for those that know Florida, is called the business community. Most of Florida is tourism. But Tampa is where all the primary businesses are headquartered. So they're more business-minded like you and I would be versus the tourists that visit. So I said, what do you need? He said, do you have any price reduction scripts? Zap. Now, we have not given these out for probably 4 or 5 years. They're online. You can download them. And again, I'll give a copy of these to Bill, and you can make a copy for them at your convenience, because the scripts are very straightforward, very simple, and can cause conversation and communication for a price reduction. The biggest challenge in asking for a price reduction is thinking that because you said this is what I need you to do. Your biggest challenge is you believe they're gonna do it. And they're not. It's gonna take coaxing and selling and communication and asking and presenting to get a price reduction. So watch this example. There's about 10 people in this room that have been in my seminars several times over the years. Could you raise your hands again, please? Okay? So keep your hands up 1 second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I guessed 10, so I was off by 1. Those people that are like John Sullivan, like Paula, when I say I want you to consider doing this, their minds are programmed to not say maybe, I'll consider it. Their challenge is doing it as quickly as they can. And as a result, they are often the top agents in the community. So for the balance of this audience, this is our first time together. And some of you that went to my son Tom's program in Green Valley saw me speak because he invites me to speak often at his events. So some of you had this much exposure to me, where some of you got years of exposure to me. Sellers have limited exposure and need more communication on price reductions. So I'm going to read these to you. Don't try to write them down. We'll give you a copy. So I gave to Chris this package, which is 4 different price reduction conversations. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I made a terrible mistake the night I listed your home for sale. Can I explain? Well, yes. What is the mistake? When I listed your home here, I wasn't strong enough on the price. Because of that, I have 4 options for your consideration. Option 1, reduce the price by 5% tonight. Option 2, add an additional 1 or 2% to the buyer's side commission. Option number 3, extend the listing agreement back to its original length. You've had the listing now 2 months, 6-month listing. I want us to go back to our 6-month extension because maybe the property will be worth what you're asking in a longer period of time. And 4th, I'll give you the listing back. No challenge, no problems. Which of the 4 would you consider? And I've had people say, take the listing back. We want it back. I go, okay. You can't use option 4 if it's your only listing. You can't use option 4 if you're going on 1 presentation a month. Yes, sir.
On the option 2, if you offer the higher to the buyer, you can't advertise that as a list.
Well, whether you can advertise it or not, do you have a voice? Do you know some good agents in town?
Oh, yeah.
That's how you have to do it. The things you can and cannot do today have multiplied since I started in real estate in 1970 by 1,000-fold. But what's interesting about that is, they say, we cannot tell you what to do, you're an independent contractor, but we're going to tell you what you can't do. It's pretty much one of the dumbest systems, probably in the history of business, okay? Being an independent contractor is a wonderful thing if you want to get paid a lot of money and really have a strong focus on productivity. Or, on the other side, if you don't want to be held accountable and don't want to do anything, being an independent contractor is perfect, because if you were an employee of an organization doing nothing, you'd be terminated. So most of the people pick option 2. We'll just pay a bonus to the buyer's agent. Great, please.
So, in case you forgot, I'm in the mortgage industry. And
I didn't.
So, price reduction versus incentives for the buyers. Is it better to do both price reductions or incentives for the buyers to pay closing costs or two buy downs or anything like that?
There's actually about 10 options you can offer, and those are valid. However, the more options you offer, the less quickly they make a decision. Now, I wrote this in 1970. So everything that I do probably needs to be updated. I just don't want to update it. Question?
Yeah, I was just going to say to that point, Bill, the problem with doing incentives is only people who are semi-interested in the home will see it. Whereas if you do a price reduction, everyone will see it, or will notify all the buyers.
Yeah.
And then if they come in with an offer, you can always then raise the price and still offer incentives. So I think
Go lower and then go higher.
if you need to, but I think the price reduction gets it out to the masses.
The first option I gave you is the hardest one. The second option I gave Chris, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, based on my knowledge, it seems you're still the highest bidder for your house. And some of you won't get that for 6 months. We need to go ahead and reduce the price by blank. Well, technically, they're the highest bidder on the house, yes or no?
Yes.
Third option, I'm calling in with your weekly update. In the last 7 days, we've had 2 showings and no offers. As we've discussed, it's time to reduce the price so we can create some activity and receive some showings and offers. How much do you want to reduce it so we can get some showings and offers? Now, folks, understand, we know we need a price reduction. We hint about it to the sellers. Well, you know, we haven't had a lot of activity, but there's not a lot of activity in town now. You know, there were a lot of people moving from Southern California to Nevada, you know, post-COVID. That seems to have slowed down. What does that have to do with them selling their home today? What's going to cause them to sell their home today is get the price in alignment with the market. So the fourth I wrote down, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 meaning you must move, and 1 meaning you move only if you get your price. What number would you put on your listing? So I gave those 4 to Chris, and I said, Chris, all I'm going to ask of you is that you make a copy for every one of your 800 agents, and then your team leaders, which are their sales managers, role play and practice in the office. I think I'm pretty close to what he said. They've taken almost 100 price reductions in the first month. These get to the point. There's no hemming and hawing around. Well, Mike, these things are pretty strong. These are not strong. These are weak. Strong is reduce the darn price or else. Or else what? I'm going to shoot you in the head. That's strong. So let's look at the last thing we can do to get a higher number of our listings sold. I'll come to Paul first.
So Mike, when I'm doing my presentations now, using the statistics, I'm suggesting a price that's 1 to 2% below what the last sale is.
Yes.
Raising inventory.
Smart.
Of course, I'm getting resistance, right?
Yes.
And then I get other agents coming in that, you know, aren't willing to be as strong on the price, and then I'm
Yep.
losing that listing. So would you suggest going ahead and getting the listing at the higher price now, or walk away from it?
The answer to the question is it depends on how many listing opportunities you have.
Okay.
John, how many presentations do you make per month on average? 10. So John would be a little bit quicker to walk away when they become adamant about their price with no flexibility.
Motivation too.
And the motivation is strong. But let's say that this young lady said, I go on 1 or 2 listing presentations a month. The seller's going to control the conversation. So opportunities determine what your response should be. If you have minimal opportunities, they control it. If you have 8 or 10 opportunities, you're gonna control the outcome. Okay, thank you, that was a good question. But the last point on getting your listing sold, and this one is saved to this point on purpose, strengthen your listing presentation. Strengthen your listing presentation. So what do I mean by strengthen your listing presentation? I'm not talking about being loud. I'm not talking about jumping up and down. I'm not talking about being obnoxious. I'm talking about understand the process that people go through to get their home sold, and understand the role you play in that process. So I put together for myself a 5-step process that I followed, and I've been teaching it for 50 years, and so many good agents like John, like Paula, like some of you, use this process every time. Now, first I have to ask a question. Did anybody here by chance play high school or college sports? Anybody play sports? Okay, what did you play?
I did a little bit of everything. So
You did a little bit of everything.
So
You were a guy's dream. Well, Phil, I don't know where your mind went. I thought she could play baseball with me, she could play basketball with me, she could play soccer with me. Look where your minds went. So, which was your primary sport?
Track and cross country.
Track and field. Did you have a coach?
Yes.
Good. Did you practice?
Yes.
Did you practice probably every day?
Yes.
Did you practice harder during the season of track and field?
Not necessarily. We would practice before because running.
Of course, you prepare.
Running, yes.
Good.
Running days is a key.
Did you generally do what the coach told you?
Yes.
Did you get paid a lot of money for doing it? Now watch. How many people played some type of sport? Let's see where you are. I mean, most adults played some type of sport in grade school, high school, or college. John played 10 years professional soccer in London, England. So he was very used to the practice portion, to having certain plays that you run, and then run from certain people. So it's just, well, it's just like playing pro football. So we have a team called the Raiders. I'm not sure if they're really a team. But they have, there's hope. Say why.
Why?
They got the best coach in football to take over. Okay, Pete Carroll. So they practice every single day, during season, off season. Well, Mike, that's their job. Okay, their job is to be prepared for the next team the next Sunday. Is it your job to be better prepared for the next listing appointment?
Yes.
So shouldn't you be taking the scripts and practicing them every day?
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what your personality is. You can be soft-spoken, you can be very mild, you can be very meek, but the strength of the presentation is what you're trying to get across to the people. You can be loud and boisterous. As long as they're loud and boisterous too, it's a good match. If they're not, simmer down a touch, but stay on the script. And what's fun about high school and college sports is we work so hard to win, but we never get paid. And now you get paid a fortune if you practice the same way that you did when you were in high school or college. So the 5-step presentation is very simple. Let's write them down. Step 1, pre-qualify 100%. And we've talked about that time and time again. Pre-qualify 100%. No exceptions. No exceptions. Believe me, what Bill wants the most as a mortgage lender is a highly qualified buyer and seller that has the desire to do something, because that's your ideal prospect, and that's going to be a closing for your company. In fact, you know what? I need to ask a question. only a small percentage of this audience had seen me speak before. So I'm gonna make a recommendation to you and your sales team, if I may. I made the same recommendation yesterday. Scott and I in San Diego, we've been working together for years, like Matt. So these are all other CCM, cross-country mortgage loan officers. I'm gonna suggest that your team call every person in this room sometime in the next 10 days. And all they do is have a simple script. Did you go to the event at the country club? Yes, I did. Did you enjoy it? Yeah, I enjoyed most of it. Did you try some of the scripts that he taught and talked about? Yes, I did. Did they work out okay? Well, they first were uncomfortable, but then they started to work well. Have you sold a home or listed a home because of the seminar? Well, I've got a couple good prospects. Well, could I ask a favor? When you make a sale, would you let me represent you as the lender on your next transaction? How many of you are gonna adamantly say, no, I won't give you my next deal? There's your next 100 transactions.
I look forward to speaking to all of you.
Good for you. Because the truth is, 99% of the speakers don't have a scripted presentation to offer. And if you go to MikeFerry.com and you press the button for scripts, all the scripts on everything I teach for buyers and sellers are all online for free. Take advantage of them. Practice them. Sit by yourself and read them out loud. Has the real estate market really changed that much over the last 8 to 10 years? Let's write down 4 good questions that need to be answered for the majority of the sellers that we present to. Has the real estate market really changed that much in the last 10 years? Let's write down the 4 questions that need to be answered for the majority of sellers we present to. Has the real estate market, and you do that just like you did in track, and just like you did in soccer, and just like you did in baseball, and just like you did in basketball. You keep repeating the same plays over and over again. I went to a high school in Santa Ana called Modern Day High School, Catholic High School. And one of our biggest competitors was Bishop Gorman, right here in this town. 2 of the top high school football teams in the nation. Modern Day, again last year, was rated number 1 in the nation. They've been rated number 1 probably 25 times in the last 50 years. And the coach I had was stronger than 90-year-old garlic. We actually used to say, I wonder if we can do anything to make this coach smile, because he was tough. He went on to become the defensive coordinator for USC, the Trojans. He went on from the USC Trojans to become the quarterback coach for the Green Bay Packers for years. Then he moved to the New York Giants as quarterback coach. Then he retired. So I'm doing a program in Portland, Oregon, and I told the story about practice, and I told the story about our head football coach and how fanatical he was on practice. And somebody said, what was his name? I said, Dick Corey. Did you know that Dick Corey lives here in Portland? I said, I didn't know. Well, the seminar ended at 4 o'clock. I get to my room at 4:30. My phone rings. Hi, Mike, it's Coach Corey. Thanks for talking about me at the seminar. How have you been? I said, I'm doing great. He said, did I have any kind of a positive influence on your business? I said, 100%. He said, what part? The importance of practice. He said, thanks, Mike, that's what I needed to hear, and he hung up. And he'd been retired for probably 10 or 15 years. Practice does not always make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. I need you to practice. Step 1, pre-qualify. Step 2, mail or deliver that pre-listing package. And you're going to put in the package what you're comfortable with, but the less you put in stories and pictures of yourself, the stronger the package is. Okay? Step number 3, call back and confirm that they have reviewed the package. Call back and confirm they've reviewed the package. So I call them back 2 days later, Mrs. Smith, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Did you and your husband have a chance to review the package? No, we've been too busy, and then we'll have to delay the appointment. I can't come out to present until you've reviewed the package. Well, we don't want to review the package. You know what? Let's just pass. Because I don't want to go and list a property where they're hostile, angry, mad, etc., and then have to live with them for 2, 3, 4 months. It's not worth it, okay? I have kids for that. Just kidding, okay? Step number 4, show up 15 minutes early. Show up 15 minutes early. Now, when I say show up 15 minutes early, I don't say show up and go to the door 15 minutes early. What I recommend is you get to the house 15 minutes early. For the ladies, check your makeup. For the men, check your hair. Is it combed properly? Is your tie on straight? You don't have to comb as much. Well, seriously, somebody went like this, which was cute, thank you. Review the scripts that you're going to use. Review the package you sent out 5 minutes before the appointed time. Go up and knock on the door. You're dressed professionally. You have a smile on your face. Should you be excited about taking this listing?
Yes.
Yes.
Notify your face. And I'm dead serious. So I would always ring the doorbell, take 2 steps back, smile because they're looking at the people. They always do. They open the door and we begin. Okay? But then step number 5 is the real key point. Read, R-E-A-D, the listing script to them. Read, R-E-A-D, the listing script to them. So my listing script had across the top, seller listing script. And I would show it to them. I have a script here, I need to ask you all these questions. May I begin? Good. Now, folks, 91% of the time, when I called a valid presentation to a seller, I got the contract signed. NAR says you get it signed 2 times out of 10. I had 9 out of 10. Well, Mike, I'm getting 9 out of 10 annually. You went on 10 presentations last year? Yeah. Why aren't you working more? I mean, if you got 9 out of 10 signed, for goodness sakes, apply that to your business at a much higher level. Any questions about the 5-step listing presentation? Questions at all? Yes, John?
You've been teaching this for 50 years.
Yes.
To me, it makes more sense than ever in this market because I think it's lacking communication. But why are we fighting this simple material which works so much?
The human mind works in odd ways. You know, there's the conscious mind which controls what we say and what we do. There's the subconscious mind which processes information. It's a storage unit for every sound, everything we see, everything we hear, every person we talk to. Well, we get very confined as we age as to what we will allow into our subconscious mind. So basically, we are going to do things our way. And see, if there's one thing we could change about real estate, it would be the following. If I was in charge of the real estate industry, which I am the farthest point from that, I would make all of you employees. Say why?
Why?
Because it would cause production to increase dramatically. So I'll give you a couple of examples. I worked for this broker named Pat McVeigh. He was a strong, difficult, challenging, somewhat angry, hostile at times, wonderful, kind, loving, supporting. The guy was a mixed bag. He was a big fellow. He was, 6'3", 230 pounds, Patrick McVeigh. And he was from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, moved to Southern California. And he decided when he moved that he was going to take over the real estate business in Huntington Beach. So there were 30 of us that worked in the office. My first day, and I had known Patrick for several years because I was working for Earl Nightingale and he was a big Earl Nightingale fan. So Patrick said to me, I said to Patrick on my first day, Pat, I want to be successful. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. He said, the real estate business is very simple. I said, okay, tell me why. If you talk to 100 people a day, 5 days a week for 3 months, you'll establish a routine that will live with you for the rest of your life. I said, what do you mean? He said, prospect. Prospect from 8:30 in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and do it Monday through Friday. And report to me every Friday what you've done. And then in 90 days we'll review it. So I went out and knocked on doors. I knocked on expireds, buy owners, just listed, just sold, cold doors. Patrick would do something with new agents and he only got to do it once. He would say, John, I'm going to go with you when you prospect today. So we would jump in his car and we would drive out 2 or 3 miles from the office. He would stop the car, let's knock on doors on both sides of the street. I'll knock on this side, you knock on that side. And after about 3 doors, Pat would say, hey Mike, I gotta run back to the office to pick something up, we'll be right back. Then he never came back. So we were trapped out there. It was either walk 3 or 4 miles back and say I didn't do anything, or we would say I just kept knocking on doors. So I mean, he would pull stunts like that all the time. My first 3 months, I talked to 6,000 people.
Wow.
Because I had to track it every day. Now, 1970, 71, there were way more people home at the house, one of the 2 parties, than there is today. So today, if I was doing the same thing, I would do it by phone because it's faster and more efficient. So my first 3 months, I had 36 contracts signed. So now I have to do my quarterly review with Pat. So Pat calls me in. He said, what do you think about the real estate business? Patrick, this is the dumbest business I've ever seen. He had a big smile on his face. Why do you say that? Pat, I talked to 6,000 people. 5,964 did not buy or sell from me. What did I do wrong? He got very serious and said, I don't know. You better go do it again. So my first year, I prospected 6 hours a day and did way over 100 transactions. See, once again, don't tell me it can't be done. Today, you wouldn't have to do 100 transactions, but yet you and Dan and a lot of the guys in your office will do close to 100 or more transactions. See, it can be done. It's how bad do you want it? And John, this goes back to the question you asked. My subconscious mind was programmed that if I prospected, I presented, I could close. In fact, I'm going to do something really different at the retreat this year. The first hour and a half, I'm going to say to the audience, there'll be 3,000 plus people, I'm going to pretend that you want to be a professional speaker someday. Or you just want to improve dramatically the quality of your listing presentation, which in essence makes you a professional speaker. Because anytime you're presenting, whether it be one-on-one, two-on-one, or you're presenting 1 to 100, you have to learn how to do that emphatically with skill. And then I'm going to take the audience through 30 skills to improve their presentation. And I've already got them all written out and prepared. But see, I get excited about the fact that all we have to do is open your mind to the fact that you are not already perfect, even though you think you are. Do you know how many mistakes I've made today so far? Probably 8 or 10. Did you see how concerned I am about them? Interesting, isn't it? Well, Mike, I want to be perfect. Okay. When the seminar is done, drive to your house. Go by yourself to your house. Go in the master bedroom, turn on all the lights. Lock all the doors, close all the curtains. Take off all your clothes and stand in front of the mirror. And you call that perfect? Folks, we need a little help. Yes or no?
Yes.
Questions about the 5-step presentation? So about 2 weeks ago, my wife Sabrina said to me, how come you don't use those 4 questions in your seminars anymore? And I said, which 4 questions are you referring to? So let's write down the following 4 questions. How much is my house worth? Question number 1. How much is my house worth? Question number 1. Does every seller technically want that answered as soon as possible?
Yes.
But do they believe you?
No.
So the first question creates the most conflict. But I can eliminate some of the conflict by doing the pre-qualifying process and asking them what they want to sell for before I even go on the presentation. So I'm a step ahead of them in this conflict. So I go, as I mentioned earlier, to a Tommy Hopkins seminar, and he recommended strongly that we make a 2-hour listing presentation. I said, Tom, you know, this was at the break, you know, you and I are good friends, and I think the world of you. But I do not want to sit with the seller for 2 hours talking. I want to spend 20 minutes asking them questions, getting them engaged, getting them confident that I'm asking the right questions to get their home sold so I can get out of there in 20 minutes. Because the first question they want answered is what?
How much is my home worth?
How much is my house worth? And I said, Tom, when do you bring that up in our presentation? It's the last thing we discuss. Tom, all you're doing is delaying the inevitable, which is a strong conversation regarding price. Question number 2, how long will it take to sell? And boy, that is a dangerous question to answer in this market we're involved in today. How long will it take to sell? But then we go to question number 3. What will you do to get it sold? What will you do to get it sold? And that's where having a sales plan that is printed, whether it be 3 steps, 10 steps, 15 steps, written out on a piece of paper that you're going to put in the pre-listing package, and you're going to use that when they keep arguing about the price. You say, well, let me take you through what I do to get the house sold. I want to take you through it step by step. And my steps, there were 18 of them, were so basic and fundamental that they couldn't deny that they would work. See, like step number 1 said, submit a copy of this listing to the multiple listing service. In 1970, we did not have computers, cell phones, technology. So we got a listing book once a week from the Board of Realtors. Came on Thursday. Had all the new listings that had been submitted and all the listings that hadn't sold. So the book was about this thick every Thursday. So I'm going to submit it to our local Board of Realtors. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, our board, Huntington Beach Valley Board of Realtors, has 2,200 realtors. So it'll take about 4 to 5 days for them all to get a copy of your listing. They're going to judge every listing that they see. How would you like them to respond in a positive manner to your listing? Or in essence, what do you like best about your house that I can put in the remarks section that they'll read? Well, if you put down in the house that we have a beautiful view, If you put down in your remarks section that my husband has a beautiful work area in the garage, okay, I'll put those two things in the remarks section, thank you. As soon as they tell me the answer, technically they've listed their home with me. Now think about it. If I do that 15, 16, 17, 18 times, I am going to get the listing 9 times out of 10. But what was interesting is question number 4. I want you to write down, how much do you charge? How much do you charge? And I had a standard answer for that, which I always said with a big smile. Well, Mike, how much do you charge? That depends on whether I sell it or not. If I sell it, I charge 6%. If I don't sell it, how much are you going to pay me? They go, what are you talking about? I said, well, what do you pay an agent if they don't perform the function of selling your home? Well, we don't pay anything. I said, it's almost unfair, isn't it? I do all this work and I can possibly not get paid. And best case scenario, I do all this work and I get 6%. And you do nothing and you get 94%. It is unfair, isn't it? And then I would smile at him. But see, in the company I work for, and again, this doesn't apply to today's society, my broker said you can cut the commission if you want to. But the moment you do, you're fired. And if you cut a commission $1, he would fire you. So I'm sitting in Pat's office one day, and there was a fellow named Mike McVeigh, no relationship to Mike or Pat McVeigh, knocked on Pat's door. Pat said, come in. And Mike was a newer agent, well-dressed, sharp young guy. He said, Patrick, he said, I've got a new listing. I want to tell you the circumstances. They are having their first baby. She's already terribly overdue. And I think she's overdue because they can't afford to have the baby. They've lost their house and their car because the husband lost his job. He worked at McDonnell Douglas. They have no money. The only equity they have is in the house. Pat said, okay, why are you telling me this? Because of this, I cut the commission from 6 to 5. Pat said, not a problem. Take the listing and go tell the broker that you chose to go to work for when you cut the commission. And he was fired. So some of the points of strength that I talk about were because that was how business was done at that time. So those 4 questions, if you think about them, if you walked into a house after pre-qualifying, after sending the pre-listing package, and you said, I have 4 questions that I want to answer for you, can I ask those questions right now? You'd be better off than anything else that you would do. How much is your house worth? How long will it take to sell? What will you do to get it sold? And how much do you charge? John, please.
Did you recommend in our appointments right now, we do that? It's going to speed up the process.
John, to speed up the process, I would show them the 4. If I was listing property today, I'd walk in with those 4 questions.
Okay.
Because people say to me all the time, you never change anything that you teach. John, that's a change, isn't it?
That is
I change a lot of things that I teach based upon the market I'm working in, based upon the experience of the agents that I'm talking to, based upon the conditions of the economy.
Can I piggyback that point, Mike?
Let me go here first. Yes, please.
So if that's the case, that how much is my house worth and that how much do you charge are already in the presentation
They're
packet.
already in the pre-listing package.
Yeah, they're already in there.
But I want to confirm and reconfirm that they read the package. Because they will say, yes, they read it. But think about the amount of information on any one portion of that package. That was a great question. Thank you. John.
I was just going to say to the group, to anyone who hasn't seen Mike speak before and says he's a dinosaur, because people say Mike's a dinosaur, he has been telling us this for the last year. So us Mike Ferry trained agents have been ahead of the curve. So one of the recommendations I say to the group today is working with Mike, and one of the biggest benefits is when everyone else starts panicking about the market, Paula, we're already 6 months ahead. Mike's already telling us this stuff. So one of the things I'm going to say to all of you is listen to Mike more, get to his events, because you're going to be way ahead of all the other 16 or 17,000 realtors that we're competing with. So,
well, thank you, John. It's important that we understand how hard it is to change our thinking. But it's important to understand that it's easier to expand your thinking than change your thinking. I was telling this couple, every Monday morning at 7:30, and this has been going on for 12, 15 years, I have a group of about 150 top agents from all over the U.S., and I have a little 30-minute call I do with them, and it's titled Thinking Big. And all we work on is trying to expand the thinking of individual agents. And I spend usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday researching, looking for good ideas to talk to them about, because the name of the game is not the ability to change your thinking, because that's hard to do, but expand your thinking by allowing other thoughts that are outside of your comfort zone into your head. So I want you to listen to this. If your presentation is not strong, the result is going to be overpricing the property and cutting the commission, or both. Is that the goal that you have when you walk in the door to start the presentation? I mean, are you walking in saying, I'm going to overprice it and I'm going to cut my commission? And I see it, so many of you shaking your heads no, which I appreciate. How many would think they may be attending our Superstar Retreat next month? Let's see where you are. Would you do me a favor?
yes.
And do it now. Fill out the form, because only 5 people filled out the form at the break. And I thought there was, well, watch, I said to this young couple here, if 15 people fill out the form and turn it in, I'm going to draw one out, and I'm going to give you a free ticket, even though it's only $275. But did I tell you, Bill, that we have a second prize? Hold on to your chair. Second prize, 5 days and no nights in Baker. I know it sounds exciting. And when we go back and forth to Southern California, where all of our kids live, we have to go right through Baker every time. And I say every time, oh Lord, please give us enough fuel to get by Baker. So fill out the forms, if you would please, name, address, phone number, method of payment. And I'm going to stall for minutes so we can get those filled out and collected. How many do we have so far, Dean? We have 6. So we need 1. We have 7. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions about anything we've discussed today so far? It seems that this half of the room has been more question-oriented. If you get them filled up, ma'am, who was holding the form up, we then got into a conversation with the lady next to her. Just pass it to the center aisle. Okay? Yes, question over here.
What's your outlook for 2026? What's your outlook for 2026?
What is my...
Outlook.
Well, you're covering your mouth when you're wrong. You're going like this. What is your outlook? We're going to have it.
Yeah, 2026 is going to be here.
Some of the executives in CCM have told me the following. Don't expect the market to be until the end of the first quarter of next year. So this market that we're involved in is really somewhat normal. Days on market's extending, there's still inflation at the same time. inventory is growing. That market we had post-COVID, when those 2 million buyers came flooded into the market that couldn't buy for the 18 months before, that was abnormal. So I don't see much of a change. But can I tell you, Mike Ferry's real answer? So maybe, do you want to walk down the aisle and collect those? Because there's some people that are filling them out and we'll get them to.
You just wave, I'll come get it from you. Perfect.
So what I want to say to you is the real answer is it doesn't matter what happens in the market. It only matters what you do in the market. So thank you for asking that question. Questions at all? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me walk over here. Here goes.
So outside of what you're chatting about, I have been having a hard time for years with us being referred to as collecting commissions because they really are professional fees.
Yes.
And I really wish that all of us in this room would come to understand that, because the commission is earned by a car salesman, an RV salesperson, somebody who represents the company to get as most money for the company. We have a fiduciary obligation, and that fiduciary obligation says we have to protect our client first. So we are on the same lines as an attorney, and I think it would behoove us as an industry, especially moving forward since August, that we refer to our fees as professional fees and discontinue the word commission. Just food for thought.
It's valid. Say thank you. Thank you. Yes. Questions? Yes.
So if you are planning on going, and as I collect them, the one little piece of advice I'd like to give all of you, because I get to work with Mike, is bring a box of business cards. Okay, you guys have, for those of you who have just signed up, next thing you need to do is bring a box of business cards. Go back to your office, order business cards. The agents who attend the Superstar Retreat, we get a huge turnout from Southern California. Anybody notice any people moving from Southern California? Consider this, what is a average commission check for you guys, or professional fee? 12 to 18. This is $275 to go to the event. Which would be better?
So watch this.
18,000?
Watch this for you. John, how many referrals have you gotten from being at the retreat?
In 10 years, I've got at least one a month for 10 years.
I'm
Yes,
sorry, what?
yes.
One a month?
Yeah, one for a month.
We're increasing his coaching fees.
Well, Swayze gave me 16 listings in one.
He gets one referral a month as a result of being at the retreat.
Yeah, I know.
But John, Dan, a lot of our top agents work the crowd. And when you say you live in Las Vegas, sweetheart, when you say you live in Las Vegas, they will respond, no question about it.
I've never paid for coaching and I've never paid for a agent.
It's paid for his coaching for years. So I am excited about two things. Number one, I got invited to do 3 of these for CCIM, not CCIM, CCM. And this is number 3, and the best part about this one is we don't have far to drive to get home. We live right around the corner. Second, would you just give me an approximate number so I can go around? Should the winner have to be present?
Yes.
Okay.
Rose just had to go back. Well, just stay a minute.
She's leaving.
Very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in Canyon Gate, Mike
Canyon
Ferry,
Gates with Mike Ferry show, yes.
listing seminar. Beautiful day.
Yes.
Come on, let's play golf.
I know. Going out to long for there. It's like 3 right there. That's right.
winner will get a trip to Baker and free admission to the Superstar Retreat. So if you would, please. And of course, I'll never be able to read that print that is so small.
Catherine Gill.
Congratulations. That pretty gal in the black skirt, white blouse is going to call you later today and get all this taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, Bill, I'm working on something that I have never done before. I did it in San Diego. I did it over in Phoenix, and I'll do it again today. People say to me, we saw your son, which I always think is great, because Tom is very inspirational. And I don't even for a minute think that I'm inspirational. I just try to tell people the truth about what I think has to be done. So Tom and all the great speakers have some kind of an emotional close that they use at their seminars. So I'm working on one. And it's not very good, but it's the best I can do. So Bill, could you walk over for me just 1 second? Here's my clothes. I'm done.
Give it up for Mike. Awesome job. Thank you so much. It was a long time. Hope you guys had a great time. You got your notes. One thing I want to tell you, write down this website. It'll give you a lot of information in regards to potential options for your seller. It's called listings.sell.com. Listings.sell.com. And then we have 2 raffles remaining, one from Cutco, and we have one from Mr. Mexico himself, Robert Vargas. And we'll do Must Be Present to Win, is that correct? Must Be Present to Win. Thank you all. And we'll do this real quick. What do we got here, Robert?
We've got 3 bottles of tequila, Don
Julio. Don Julio. Do you want to pick it out?
Is it too late to submit?
Pick it up.
Here, I'll mix it up. But you
Anybody else
gotta go
put
see
your card
him.
in here? You can put your card in now. Bill's got sticky fingers.
Okay. Right, look at that. I had no idea that this tequila was going to be so exciting, right? So exciting tequila. We got more. Come on up. All right, we're doing this, and we might have to pull from this. I don't know. Okay, since this is actually got. Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 more seconds. Maybe 3. 1, 2, and we got 3 seconds. Okay, we're gonna mix these up. All right. First winner of Don Julio is Must Be Present to Win. Carmen Castro Vilan. Winner, chicken dinner. All right, we got 1. Next up. You need that, don't you? Okay, that'll wake you up, right? Okay, we got the next one. We've got Andrea Ponce. Andrea Ponce. Good job. All right, we got 1 more, right? 1 more tequila.
1 more.
One more action.
1 more. I know. Should we have a drum roll, please? Okay. Oh, you tell me which one. I don't like it.
Just put 'em back.
Oh, someone's going to be upset. Okay, and this is the last one. Is Mieko Pahatin. Did I get that right? Is that good? All right. Good job, winner. And then we have a couple of Cutco. Here we go. Oh, you forgot your tequila. Don't go without tequila. All right, shots are on all the people who won. And then this is Mr. Cutco. We got a very, oh, has anybody ever used those scissors?
Yeah.
Oh my God, those are the most amazing scissors. And the knife, unbelievable. Oh, you might put a card in there. Okay, so you ready? Should we mix this up? All right, here we go. And the winner, don't pull two. Where do we got?
Okay, is this, if they already won, can I get?
Do another one?
We'll do it. Well, let's give her the choice.
Okay.
How about that? Diego won again. You won again. Oh wait. Can I go away with 2 gifts? You will have the choice. You can have the special Geico, or you can have the tequila. Tequila? Nice. Nice. Okay. So you get to pull another one. And you get to these two all drink. Okay. And we have one more winner. So you need it. Is this okay? We got that. And then that. Your lucky day.
I know. Did I win again?
No. How many cards did she put in there? For God's sake.
All right, this is for the tequila then.
This is for the tequila.
Is that what she's?
This is yeah. No, this is for tequila in this bag. Okay, this is the tequila.
All right.
Nate Cruz. Is Nate here? Oh, Nate. All right, Nate, good job. There you go. You won. All right, that's it. Thank you. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Oh, we got one more. Okay, I didn't know. $100 Amazon. Does anybody want a $100 Amazon? Yeah. Gift card. Yep. Okay. We need the cards. Oh, do they? Okay, go. Here we go. This is from Monumental Estates. They buy real estate, bad real estate that you can't sell. So everyone has a ticket. Okay, ticket number. Does everybody have their ticket? Oh, that's her name on there. Never mind. Christine Moran. Christine Moran, she's a winner. All right, you're gonna have to go take these guys and make sure they get you that gift card. They will, of course. Thank you very much. Don't forget, a week next Thursday, if you want to go to Winning in a Transitional Market, I will be there. You can have lunch with me, Treasure Town Kitchen. Thank you.
We gotta sign up for winning in the transition.
You got to wait 2 years before you pay the 70%. Okay. But when I'm in the time of construction, I'm there. So I'm sending you a video every month of your bill. And I tell you because I want you to trust.
Well, we want to have you.